It was the kind of Sunday that made the city feel smaller, quieter. The morning sun filtered through the trees, casting soft gold on the pavement as Blake Winton, millionaire tech entrepreneur and local celebrity, stepped out of his townhouse in downtown Austin. Clad in casual jeans and a designer shirt, he clicked his key fob and watched his sleek, obsidian Mustang chirp in response. It gleamed in the light, a symbol of success, of speed, of everything he'd worked for. But before he could open the door, a small, trembling voice called out behind him. "Don't get in your Mustang. Your fiancée." She cut the brakes. He turned slowly, blinking as if he hadn't heard right. Standing at the edge of his driveway was a little girl, no more than 8, wearing a worn pink hoodie and clinging to a ragged teddy bear. Her eyes, wide and worried, searched his face. "I'm sorry," she said. "I wasn't supposed to say anything. But I heard her last night. She was talking to someone on the phone." Blake stared, heart suddenly pounding. "Wait, slow down. Who are you?" "I'm Emily. My mom works for you, she cleans your office building at night. Sometimes I wait in the break room while she works. I was hiding behind the chairs and I heard your fiancée. She said she had to do it before the wedding. She said you'd leave everything to her." Blake's blood ran cold. His wedding was in 2 weeks. His fiancée, Miranda, a glamorous fashion consultant from LA, had swept into his life like a whirlwind. Beautiful, confident, charming, too perfect, his best friend had once said. But Blake, lonely and eager to love after years of betrayal and distance, had ignored the warnings. Still, this was madness. He crouched down to Emily's eye level. "Are you sure, sweetheart? This is very serious." She nodded, visibly shaking. She had a friend with her, a man. They were talking in the hall. She laughed. "She said you'd die quick in that car." Without another word, Blake pulled out his phone and dialed 911. As the dispatcher answered, his voice remained calm, but inside, everything fractured. He reported the threat, asked for an officer, and cancelled all his plans for the day. Moments later, he invited Emily to sit on the porch while they waited. He got her a bottle of water from inside, his hands trembling more than he wanted to admit. "How did you know where I lived?" he asked quietly. "My mom showed me once. She said you were a good man. She said you give bonuses and remember her birthday. She was proud." Blake swallowed the lump in his throat. "I'm glad she thinks that. What you did today, you may have saved my life." Emily shrugged, hugging her bear tighter. "I just didn't want anyone to get hurt." 20 minutes later, police arrived. They took statements. Emily's mother, Maria, arrived shortly after, breathless and panicked, apologizing in a flood of Spanish and tears. But when Blake told her what her daughter had done, how she may have prevented a murder, Maria fell to her knees, holding her daughter close, crying softly into her hair. What followed was a blur. Police took the Mustang for investigation. A mechanic confirmed the brake lines had been deliberately severed. Miranda was arrested that evening at her upscale condo, her friend, an ex-con with fraud charges, apprehended trying to flee town. The motive? A $40 million life insurance policy she'd secretly convinced Blake to sign 2 weeks earlier, for future planning. Her betrayal unfolded across the news in real time. People gasped. Blake watched in stunned silence, a man betrayed, but strangely, not broken. In the quiet days that followed, Blake disappeared from public view. No press statements. No social media. He retreated into himself, not out of shame, but because he was rethinking everything. For the first time, the people who truly mattered to him weren't shareholders or celebrity friends, but a janitor who never asked for credit and her daughter who had been brave enough to speak truth to power. A week later, Blake visited Maria and Emily at their modest apartment on the edge of the city. He brought lunch, a small bouquet of daisies for Maria, and a wrapped box for Emily. Inside the box was a brand new bear with a tiny bracelet that read, Hero. Emily's eyes sparkled as she hugged it tightly. But Blake wasn't done. I know your mom works hard, he began, and I know things haven't been easy. Maria lowered her head in embarrassment, but he reached for her hand gently. I want to offer you both something. Maria, I'd like to sponsor your education, if you're willing. You've worked for me 5 years without ever asking for a raise, and that's on me. I see now how much you've given. Maria burst into tears. And Emily, he added, turning to the little girl, I've started a scholarship in your name. The Emily Grace Foundation, for children who show courage and integrity. One day, if you want to go to college, it's already paid for. The room fell silent except for the soft sounds of crying. In the months that followed, Blake became a different man. He sold the Mustang. Traded it for a modest hybrid. He moved out of the high-rise condo and bought a small home near a community center where he volunteered twice a week. He still ran his company, but now with new values, hiring people from underserved backgrounds, funding single mothers with tech dreams, building futures instead of chasing fame. And every Saturday, without fail, he met Emily and Maria for lunch in the park. Emily called him Mr. Blake at first. Then just Blake. Then, finally, Uncle B. On the 1-year anniversary of the day she saved his life, Blake knelt beside her in that same park, handed her a simple white balloon, and said, You changed my life. Not just by saving it, but by showing me who I really want to be. Emily beamed. As they watched the balloon float into the blue, Blake smiled for the first time in a long time, genuinely, wholly. Not because he'd escaped death. But because a little girl reminded him how precious life could be. Sometimes, the smallest voice carries the loudest truth. And sometimes, heroes don't wear capes. They wear pink hoodies and carry teddy bears.